This is Gary Parr from Fiber Talk. I want to give you a little tour of Anasazi Song, a piece I just completed here the other day, designed by Carole of Stitch Play Designs, and one of three a triptych, if you will, Anasazi Song, and then there's Anasazi Dream and Anasazi Spirit, and they all go together, all based off of this watercolors overdyed thread called Arabian Nights that makes up this star, and it's used in the other two in different ways, but this obviously the center point of this piece is this star, and a beautiful piece with a couple little challenges, but really not anything difficult. And you start out, you make a little crisscross piece stitch in the middle, and then you surround that with a Jessica stitch, a very small Jessica stitch made out of Krynic braid, and then you follow that with some flare. You can see the flare that makes up the center, and then the outside of the star is that Arabian Nights color. And then you can see a beautiful job by Carole of using Krynic braid throughout to accentuate, put nice edges on, and draw, outline, and just a beautiful job of using Krynic. In my opinion, using it the way it should be used, to add to, not dominate, and makes it, I mean, you're doing a lot, obviously doing a lot of stitching with Krynic braid, and sometimes we all know that curly stuff can be a bit of an irritant, but the effect is quite powerful, and you can see that right there in the center over the flare, just a beautiful use of Krynic braid. And then you follow that star when you're finished it with these pair of double fan doubled stitches top and bottom, which of course are just standout, visually striking pieces. And again, Carole doing an excellent job of using Krynic braid to surround, and then even within the double fan doubles to accentuate and add a little bling there that really, I think, makes them beautiful stitches, even more so than double fan doubles are, which they're impressive stitch by themselves. And then to use that Krynic braid again to create those diagonal lines that surround the double fan doubles, that just really add a nice, make that center column just very, very striking, very beautiful. Then you go to the next striping on the outside, and that is just simply a Krynic braid couch down, all the way down. Very simple to execute. Just got to hold the Krynic braid tight and taut so it doesn't get squirrely and wormy, and make some nice straight lines, and then that works out. Then you do the outer side with a Threadworks over die that using a Byzantine stitch, and then some Elegance silk pearl from Rainbow Galleries to make those single thread diagonal lines. And so that makes a nice outer border. And then you finish it off with I'm sure it's a made-up stitch that creates a rug fringe look. Very unique end on this long piece, top and bottom. Simple stitch to do, nothing difficult at all. That's done again with Rainbow Gallery Elegance silk braid. And then on the edges, the final piece on the edges is this, again using the Elegance, and you back stitch all the way along the length of it, and then you wrap that back stitch. And I wasn't going to do it because I didn't think it was necessary, but then I thought, well, Carole designed it that way, I should put it in, because she probably had a plan. Turns out she did. Oh, what a surprise. And you end up with a beautiful edge that has some texture to it. And then you also carry that rope-like look. You can see it there quite nicely, just at the bottom of the fringe. And so that gives a nice finish there on the edge. So the whole thing is boxed in beautifully with that wrapped back stitch. And the overall effect, very impressive, I think. Really happy with the end result. One of the things that I was focused on when I did this piece, there's so much open space that I was really careful to make sure that I didn't have threads crossing open area. And was pretty successful. With the double fan double, you can't avoid that. I mean, that's, and you hold it up, put it up to a window like this, and put the daylight behind it, and you can see the threads that's unavoidable. But the rest of it, I was pretty successful in keeping that all open and keeping the edges of the stitches open and defined rather than having threads cross over it. So I was pretty pleased with that end result there, and it holds up real well to the backlight test. So overall, a very nice design by Carole. Really, really beautiful in its not only in the color selection but also in the textures and the line work. I think maybe that's the better part of it, is the textures and the line work. Really could be any colors, any color combination, but it just all comes together very nicely. Really pleased with the end result. Plus it was just a fun stitch, a couple of challenging spots. Double fan doubles are, unless you do them every day, not the easiest thing to pull off, but you get them right, and there's very few stitches that will match them in terms of visual impact. So a beautiful piece, really happy with the end result.